All right, and we are live. Hello, everyone. I'm Laszlo. You probably know me. That's why you are watching this stream. So today I just want to have some fun. I like Hetzner. I like dedicated hardware and bare metal things, and I like Kubernetes. And yesterday I came home from vacation and I saw a project that is vitobotta's Hetzner CLI, which supposedly gonna give me a cluster. And I use Hetzner and I built my cluster myself, and it was a very involved process, and I was very intrigued by this project. So today I have an hour and a half tops, and I'm gonna try to use this CLI tool to launch a cluster, and I'm gonna make it a tiny one, a budget cluster, if you like. So yeah, let's get started. We are live on YouTube. I guess you can place their comments and I might see them, might not. I'm not good at this stuff. So yeah, we'll see. So let me share my screen. All right. So first of all, Hetzner, you might have heard about it. It's a budget discount server provider. The only thing that you have to know about them, they are cheap. That probably comes at the cost of not having good support, although I have never tried their support, but I heard that might not be top notch, but I'm not sure what you can expect for such low prices. I run dedicated hardware myself, so for like 50 euros, you get very beefy servers, so like 5 times cheaper than other like the hyperscaler cloud providers, but you're going to check them out yourself, so that's not the point. I might say ballistic things about the pricing because I have not prepared anything on that. I just wanted to focus on the tool, this one, hetzner-k3s. So yeah, but you will see what it is capable of. We are not going to use dedicated hardware. We are going to use Hetzner's Cloud offering, which is like the classical, shared CPU, virtual machine kind of approach. And I looked at shared vCPU, standard Intel architecture. They have ARM, that's new. And I'm gonna use CX21, 2 CPUs, 4 gigabytes of RAM for this amount of money. Now, Kubernetes has some kind of an overhead and that has some system components. So I'm actually curious that at the end, how much of this 2 CPU can I use for my own deployments? So without further ado, let's get into this. So hetzner-k3s, the only preparation I did for this stream is that I read this README yesterday and I added the Hetzner API key into my shell. So hopefully I will not reveal any keys for the kingdom or anything. So yeah. And why did I think that this is a cool project? So I built clusters on Hetzner for my own purposes, and that involved like you get a root access on a server, and then you SSH into it, and then you do some SSH hardening, and then you install K3s, which is, by the way, a pretty cool and lightweight Kubernetes distribution. It doesn't use etcd and all those Kubernetes, I don't know, complex stuff. It's thrown out a bunch of Kubernetes stuff that is not really required for average people. But why I'm interested about this tool is because it's using a few Hetzner components that I was not aware that they are out there. So there is Hetzner Cloud Controller, which is going to give me a load balancer. So if I use a Kubernetes service type load balancer, it is going to provision a Hetzner load balancer for me. And it also has a CSI driver, which means I can use Hetzner's block storage, so like regular virtual disk subsystem, like an EBS volume on AWS. And when I'm going to create a persistent volume claim, it is going to give me a volume, which is pretty cool. I don't have that on my dedicated servers. And yada yada. Also, cluster autoscaler works, which I don't make use of at the moment, and this stream will not be about it. Who I am, so this guy vitobotta is an engineer living in Finland, and this is his personal project. And I think I I heard about him like a year ago, and it's pretty cool what he's doing. If you search for how do I install Kubernetes on Hetzner, his blog posts come up very often, and they are very useful. So that's pretty cool. And he put all his knowledge into this tool. So yeah, thank you, Vittorio, or Vito, sorry. All right, so prerequisites. I have a Hetzner Cloud account, check, and I created the API token, check. The Hetzner Cloud is like a cloud. It has a login page, and actually there are multiple modes of operations in Hetzner. There is the cloud, where you pick a project and then you can start up servers and volumes and load balancers and IP addresses and networks and so on. But there is also the old school robot interface where you see your dedicated servers. Now, that's where the real juice is, the real hardware, but I'm going to use the cloud console, nicely sized little VMs that I'm going to use for my Kubernetes cluster. So back to hetzner-k3s, I fulfilled the pre-requirements, and I also did the installation of this tool. It's, I believe it's written in Go, maybe not. No package.json, that's not written in Go anyways, but there is brew install for Mac people, and there is wget copy to whatever user local bin installation method. And if I go to my console and I type hetzner-k3s, it is installed. It is pretty standard or pretty simple looking CLI. It has a create, delete, and upgrade method. And Hetzner-k3s release is gonna give me the available K3s or Kubernetes versions. So I can go even like 127, which I never ever used. So that's going to be it. RC3, RC2, RC1, and then the latest. I don't even know if it's out yet, probably out. Yeah, so 127 Kubernetes that we are going to use or install. All right, here comes the good part. So the cluster creation is configured by a YAML, and I like configuration files where the comments gonna get me very far, so I don't have to read documentation or anything. So let me create this file called, I don't know, let's save it, config.yaml, and Hetzner token. I don't have it, but it's going to come from the environment. So I hope if I comment this out, it's going to be fine. Cluster name stream. Kubeconfig path, that is a file in this directory. I'm fine with that. And version, let's go crazy and go with the latest. I'm sorry, Vito, if this is going to kill your tool, but let's see if it is able to handle the latest Kubernetes. SSH key, that's my usual SSH key pass. I'm fine with that. All right. Now, from where the Kubernetes, no, this is SSH. So where does SSH is allowed from? Maybe I'm going to exclude you, savvy viewers, and I'm going to add my IP address. So if I go curl if config co, and that's my IPv4, so that's only going to be available for me. Sorry. And this is for Kubernetes. So I believe API allowed networks, that is most likely the Kubernetes API server. Private network subnet. I do have a private network, so let me cross-check it with. Yeah, I have a network 1. I should not interfere with this one. I should set another IP, and the /16. I have no clue how big is that, but I'm going to search for CIDR range. So if I add this address, it is going to start from 10.0.0.0 and it's going to last till 10.0 and then the max 2 times. So if I do this, I should be safe. Now is the time to actually place a comment into YouTube and tell me if I'm doing something wrong. So I hope I will not interfere with my subnet. Disable Flannel, set to true if you want to install a different CNI. No, I'm sorry people, but don't mess with container networks unless you have reasons for it. But there is seldom a good reason if you are small fish like me. All right, schedule workloads on masters. Yes, so this setting is going to allow us to keep this cluster cheap. My aim is that I'm going to have just one node, and Kubernetes controller thingies, the master, is going to be hosted in this node, and also my applications. So everything goes on one node. If I set it to true, yes. And I can set container images and auto scaling and snapshot and blah, blah, blah. I don't care about that. So Cloud Controller Manager, I trust you. This should be fine. CSI driver, again, I trust the tool. And also this one. Okay, so the master pool should be of one node. Types should be, this is the Hetzner instance type. Where was I? Hetzner.com. And then I go cloud prices. x86, yes, CX21. So it's not CPX. I don't know what's a P here. What's a P? P is AMD. Yes, that's AMD. Yeah, whatever. I'm sticking to the CX21 I was picking originally. Location NBG1. Now what is that? So Hetzner has locations 2 in Germany, 1 in Finland, and 2 in the USA. I used Germany in the past, and I'm curious about Finland. So what's the code for Finland? Yeah, I just leave it as default, and that's whatever will be, will be. Worker node pools. So this is the time when I will just ignore worker nodes, because I'm going to put Kubernetes on this master node and my workloads. I hope the tool is going to like my choices. So you could have different worker node pools, like there's a small one, a big one, and you can have as many as you please. Okay, additional packages, I guess, to the host operating system. That's neat. Post create commands. Yeah. If you want to upgrade the packages from the Hetzner image. Yeah, that's cool. Enable encryption. Yes. I guess default is true. Existing network. Nope. I will not use an existing network. API server arguments. I will not use any. No scheduler, no controller, no arguments. Good. So this is my config. And this is simple if you know what you're doing, but I think you can strip this down to a fairly simple YAML. And let's see what to do with this YAML. Yes, I have set this guy. And to create the cluster, hetzner-k3s create. All right. I'm ready. We are 14 minutes into this stream, and we're going to break something. I'm sure of that. Hetzner-k3s create config YAML. Let's do this. YAML parse. Line 23. What's wrong with this guy? That's YAML, but what about this? Okay. Creating infrastructure, network, firewall, SSH key. All right, creating servers, waiting for SSH. Stuff is happening. In the meantime, I'm gonna just go to the Cloud console and going to see, yes, there is a new network called Stream. Servers, here is my tiny in Nuremberg NBG1. And waiting for startup. Yes. All right. Maybe I'm looking at Twitter just to see if anybody has a question or something. Nothing interesting, but let's see if this server comes up alive. There are graphs of CPU, throughput, IOPS. All right, something is happening. It has a public IP address and a private one. Maybe I will try and see if, yes, SSH is, server is reachable from my IP at least. And what happens if I do this? Maybe it's a root at. All right, so I'm in the server, but the script is not in the server yet. That is odd. Yeah, that's a server. So I am committed to spend the hour and a half unless something is seriously broken or anything. So I might just gonna go into debug mode if I need to. You can have your dinner or lunch, depending how you are or where you are. It's like when you're watching Tour de France or tennis. You take the dog for a walk, you come back, they are still there doing stuff. So feel free to do your things while you are listening here. So what is going on here? Nothing is happening on the server, so the script hasn't been able to connect to it. Maybe it's using IPv6 or something. Let me check if I'm able to connect like this. Never tried this actually. So this is a connectivity issue. I recall reading in the README Markdown file that this script, this creator script, is idempotent, meaning if I exit from it and I restart, it will not duplicate things and will not error out. Instead, it will just continue where it left off. So maybe I'm going to try to restart it, or maybe I was too strict with my SSH configs, and there is something involved in network connectivity. Even though I'm able to SSH myself, maybe it's using the IPv6 stack or something like that. No clue, but yeah, let me just poke around. All right, same. Firewalls. 5 rules. What if I do something nasty here? And I'm going to allow SSH from everywhere. So instead of this, any IPv4 and any IPv6. Save changes. And let's see if my settings were sticky. They are. And let me just rerun this guy. So if it is not connectivity, then maybe it's my SSH key. Which is SSH key already exists. Maybe I generate a new one for this cluster. Can I destroy things with this? Delete, maybe. All right, at least it did. Oh man, this is so neat. I love this. Otherwise, I would have been in some problems, in some troubles. So thank you for the polish. Let's start over. I'm going to generate an SSH key, which I never know how to do it, and then do a GitHub SSH key generate. And I always land on this wonderful documentation page where I can use this guy. Aha. Maybe my key was not of one of these new types. Anyways, let me generate a key here. And my email, I will not tell you my email. I'm going to generate a key here. And file name to save is stream passphrase. I will not tell you. All right, so I have keys in this folder, and maybe I can reference them. Stream.pub is my public key, and stream is my private key. And again, they are here. And I'm going to run the create command again. Everything is so fast. It's not like, using any cloud and just waiting for things to spin up. And it's the same place where we are. Let's see if the server is something different this time. Less than a minute to go, so that's about now. IP address, maybe the same, maybe not. Yeah, I got the same IP address. Project, and then it's called Hetzner stream. And here are the keys. Can I SSH here again? SSH root at. I have to drop the known identity of this server because it has been recreated. All right, and then how do I provide a key? that is not my usual key. Is it -K or L or P? SSH provide SSH key. So private key file name is stream, and I'm going here. Passphrase is I won't tell you, and I'm in the server again. So it's not the key, it's not firewall. What is going on? I have a few more ideas, of course, and I will poke around, but this is interesting. I will definitely tell the order. So how about I change Kubernetes version after all? But that should not matter. We are just at the connectivity phase. Again, I'm going to look at firewall rules. Any IPv6, any IPv4, and then delete this guy. Firewall updated, and then rerun. All right, I'm going to go back and open everything to the world. And I'm going to use the default K3s version. Now, before I do this, let me delete the cluster. So this is usually the case when you try to be picky and applying your own preferences, and suddenly nothing works, and then you blame the tool. Let me see if everything is cleaned up. All right, servers, no servers. It's so fast, so fast. So create again. I've seen another tutorial actually, so maybe following the exact steps or just comparing. So this awesome tutorial, install kubectl, I have that. Helm, I have it. hetzner-k3s, I have it. Create file, high availability cluster, no thanks, 3 master nodes. Why does everybody go for the big things? So cluster name, kubeconfig path, use SSH agent. That might be interesting. Allowed networks. So this is the only setting that sticks out. Create cluster, yes, and then he's kubectl applying already. So use SSH agent. Let's do this. True. And let's delete everything. Or maybe I just try to recreate it again. Maybe there is a flag for a verbose flag or switch. I don't see that. That's a feature request for sure. No, I'm not able to authenticate here either, but that's something else. Because I'm in the wrong path. Projects, Hetzner, stream. Let me start over again with the original config and SSH agent true, and using my regular SSH keys. Or maybe it is okay. Just for just being a good guy here, I will use a worker node pool. Maybe I'm breaking the tool by being minimalistic here. So let's try to use a small node pool with CX21s, just a single one. The location is in Helsinki. Let's put everything in Helsinki. Maybe I should first delete everything. Now I'm a mess. So how was this? Something like this, and it was NPG1. Okay, let's try to delete. All right, so this time I'm going to use an SSH agent, and I'm going to use my regular SSH key, and I'm not going to use this very new Kubernetes. Instead, I am going to use what is displayed here. All right, and I'm going to create a worker node pool, which is going to be in Helsinki, so as my master node. And yes, 1.1, yes. I will not be strict with my network, just to be nice with the tool. And false. Now this is more standard, like how to waste money with Kubernetes. That's the stream from here on, not budget stuff. Create. Same. Nice Finnish flag on white background. Oh, come on, look at this. Deploying key to the master. So what is different this time? I enabled a worker node pool, and I chose Helsinki. Now, which one it is? It's probably the worker node pool, but maybe once this is ready, I'm just gonna take one more try because then I'm super curious what is wrong. So I can report perhaps a bug on here. Let's see, issues 10. Initialization never ends. No, that's something else. All right. Closed. Hey, I have a cluster or what? So it gave me a kubeconfig. Oh, don't look at that file. That's secret. All right. So export kubeconfig equals kubeconfig kubectl get nodes. This is my Kubernetes cluster after 36 seconds, out of which 22 was some SSH connectivity, stupidity. Otherwise, everything is so swift and smooth and everything. I love it already, but yeah, maybe, why not we deploy something? Get pods. So we have DNS, cloud controller, CSI nodes. This is a regular cluster. Describe nodes. So we have two. This is not very manageable like this. Get node. Let's look at the master describe node. There is 6% of the master node is utilized. That's why I don't want a master node in the first place. Like, this will not do basically anything. So, yep, there is this. And then the other node is this guy. And same here, 6% of it is used, which is basically the cloud controller manager that is requesting 1/10 of a CPU. This is very good. I mean, in other clusters, I see the system components take up a bit more, or sometimes a lot more. So cool. Let's deploy maybe an application with an ingress and then see the cluster working. I don't give a damn right now about the connectivity issue. I will come back at the end, but let's deploy. And I'm going to use a HUD chart that I have, and that's the plug. Where is it? One chart reference. So ham repo add one chart. I have it already, of course, but just for the sake of it. And then I'm going to, so this is a help chart, which is a generic ham chart, which is made for web applications. There is, of course, a job version and the static website version and the blah, blah version. But this is for web applications, and it covers the basic use cases. You need an ingress, you need, I don't know, a volume, all these little things. And instead of writing 200 lines of YAMLs and copy and pasting stuff, it's inside. It's like an alternative definition of Kubernetes. Here are the use cases. And I like it because it's very quick, at least for me and for some others. So I'm going to deploy an app that is called Stream App. And I'm going to just generate the manifest into the manifest YAML. And I'm going to look at manifest YAML here. And it's basically the application. And what does it have? It has a service of type cluster IP. It has a deployment which features an image, an nginx image. So it's a web server, basically. And if I apply this on the cluster, what's this? Apply. Good. It's almost running. just pulling down the image. It is running, and if I get SVC, and I'm going to port forward svc/stream-app on port 808280. And then I'm gonna visit my 8080. That's Nginx running on Hetzner. So it's alive and well. Of course, this is with a port forward. And another thing I'd like to try is the Ingress. So I want to see that the Hetzner controller is going to create a load balancer for me. And I'm probably going to test the volume as well, because why not? So give me an Ingress, secrets, domain names. Let's add an Ingress. Here, let me create a new file called values YAML for Helm and steal everything from here. No, actually, I don't specify the image is fine. There are defaults. So the Ingress is going to be, oh wait, I don't have an Ingress controller. So maybe I just go bare bones and create a service with a load balancer type. How to do that? Kubernetes service. Yeah. Let me see this one. This is going to be, I'm going to edit the manifest YAML directly. So I'm going to add another service, which is called stream LB. I need to define a selector. I hate this part of Kubernetes. This is nobody knows how to do it, at least not me. So I'm just copying stuff. Ports, yes. Cluster IP, I don't care about that. Type load balancer, status, nobody cares about that. All right, so I created a new service with type load balancer with port 80. I am not certain at all. Yep, a new service was created. And in pending state, meaning something might happen soon. An external IP, so a Hetzner load balancer is going to be provisioned here. I really hope. So let me put this in watch mode, and let me look around in the cluster and look at that cloud controller. Oh wait, this is not. Export kubeconfig equals projects / Hetzner stream / kubeconfig. All the pods, kubectl logs, kube system, error syncing load balancer, failed to ensure load balancer, neither load balancer, Hetzner location nor load balancer, network zone is set. All right, so apparently to get load balancers from Hetzner, I need to set load balancer labels or annotations. And now I recall that something was mentioned here about this. You can provision load balancers, yes. That you can add, let me add that you have to add. Service annotations. I think I'm going to do a blog post about this with best practices for Hetzner once this is all done. But this is just how I explore things and discover things. So service, that's odd. Annotations are usually not placed under service. It's part of metadata, I believe. So how about I add annotations? Is this? I'm totally not sure. So just bear with me for a moment. Host name, I don't want to set that. Location was required, yes, correct. Okay, so location is the only thing that's required, or because location or network zone must be set, I will set location, and that's going to be hell1. And let me see where to put the annotations. Metadata annotations. All right, so at least I put it in the right place. So let's apply. Let's set this log to follow. And I hope something will change. Ensuring load balancer. I like that. Add service, add target. Ensured load balancer. That's in Kubernetes language, it's called success. But of course, it has to be something strange and technical. So if I get all the services, or just services, I have an IPv6 and an IPv4. So if I do this guy, nothing happened. Let me look at load balancers. It's unhealthy, that's fair. 2 servers, targets. Tell me the port. So this could either be firewall or mismatch of ports. Maybe maybe my service doesn't work. So let me spend 2 more minutes with this, and then just ignore this problem for now. So I want to port forward the service, just to verify that the service is linked up with the deployment correctly. kubectl port forward svc/stream lb, and port is 80, 81, and then 80 on the service. And if I open this guy on my okay, so the service works, at least the service deployment configuration. Here's a port 32395. This looks good, still unhealthy. Maybe a firewall thing, because I believe that the load balancer is outside of my network. So networking. Yeah, so this is outside of my network. So maybe I'm going to allow some traffic from here, which is a bit. So allow SSH, allow ping. Nobody cares about ping. Allow TCP on the internal network. Okay, so maybe I need to add the firewall rule here. Add the rule. I can open up from the world. It's not a good practice, but as a start, could be fine. Port So I would actually expected this to work. Like Cloud Controller Manager could open these firewalls for me. Maybe Vito wrote here. Nothing major. So let me just allow port 32395 from anywhere and wait for the firewall to, not the firewall, the load balancer to just become healthy again. No, wait, actually, this firewall is on the local network. So the LB11 load balancer is on the internal network. So the firewall open that I just made no sense. But also a nice, mixed signals. Okay, so something is happening here. But another thing to note here, that the load balancer costs €5. So my original 6 whatever euros needs an additional 5 if you're going to use load balancers, which is already €11. So is it a budget cluster anymore? I'm not sure. Do I need a load balancer? Not for single nodes. Yes. So maybe for my blog post, this will be a little bit more architectured. Anyways, now it's green. It means that the firewall open was required, which is stupid because it's on the internal network. So something needs to be changed just a little bit here. And let me see if this works. Works. So Cloud Controller works. I got a load balancer, but the firewalls were not working quite well. So maybe it's a setting. I'm not sure where is the problem, whether it's in vitobotta's tool or in Hetzner Cloud Controller. I will just leave this open. But I have a load balancer. And then the final thing was disks persistent volumes. There is a CSI. It's not a crime scene investigation or investigators. It's called a container storage interface. That's like a standard API between Kubernetes, which is just a bunch of interfaces, and the actual drivers which cloud providers can write. So that's the cool thing about Kubernetes. So Hetzner wrote this driver so I can have Hetzner block storage. And let's just head back to one chart and get a volume. And this is going to be my volume. I'm going to put this into the values file. And yes, values file. The volume is called data. Path is mounted on /data. Size is 10 gigs. It's a lot. There was a price calculator on Hetzner, and it costs €0.50 per month. I'm not sure if I can go to 1 gig. Let's just stick to 10 gig for now. And once I regenerate my volumes, my manifest, I'm going to probably lose the service with the load balancer. So let me be smart about this. Manifest with volume. Okay. And the manifest with volume, let me delete the service from this guy. And I'm only updating the deployment with this. Oh, hold on. I missed an important part. Feed in the configuration parameters. And now with volume. I have a persistent volume claim. I have a service, which I'm not gonna overwrite here. And I have a deployment where I mount this volume into the /data path, and I reference this volume claim. So everything as it should be. Let me apply this YAML manifest with volume. There is a volume claim created, which is pending. Again, the controller tries to give me a cloud volume. And I got a cloud volume. It's fast. 9 seconds. I love this. Good. And the pod is also restarted and running for 16 seconds. If I describe this, how could I demonstrate the persistence nature of this? If I'm gonna exec into the pod, stream app using bash, and I'm gonna list in /data. There's nothing inside, but I can echo hello into /data / myfile.text. No, not like this. Like this. /data. There is myfile.text. Awesome. And because this is a persistent volume, I could restart the pod. I could delete the pod. I could delete even the deployment, and the volume would stick around. So how about I exit from this guy, and I get pods here. I have the stream app, and I get deployments. And I scale down the deployment. So kubectl, what's the syntax? Scale deploy / stream app replica 0. Yes. So now desired is 0 pods, and I have 0 pods right here. What about the persistent volume claim? It is still there. And what about the persistent volume? It is still there. And let me scale it up. Replicas 1, get the pods, exec into the pod, stream app dash, ls data, not ls, but cat data / myfile, and it's there. So we have volumes, we have Ingress, and that's about what we need in a Kubernetes cluster. Of course, the network things are a little bit more complicated than that. So I am going to probably write a blog post about this and collect things required for the network stuff. The only thing that's left here is cleaning things up, and that's always a catch. There is always a catch here because I'm pretty sure my volume will not be deleted. Maybe not even my load balancer. So how about I do what do I do? hetzner-k3s delete config YAML. All right, so let's see what is still in the account. No servers, that's good. No snapshots, no backups. Volumes, yes, that is €0.50 a month if I leave this here. So let me delete this. Load balancers, that's €5 a month. So be aware to not leave stuff behind. Floating IPs, nothing. Networks, that's my other network. Firewalls, nothing. Yeah. So that's a clean account again. So in summary, the tool is polished and swift. I like that. We have an SSH connectivity issue. It's probably related to the fact that I did not want to provision worker node pool. I'm going to test that just right after this stream. Hetzner was fast. I got a node very fast. I got volumes fast, load balancers fast. I could start up and tear down things very easily. So that's a very pleasant experience compared to many other things. So I'm pleased with that. Only this connectivity issue that took us 15 minutes in the beginning, that was the only issue. And networking is not obvious yet. So in like 1 hour, I only just opened up a bunch of questions, like how to make this thing secure. Like the load balancer was only able to access the nodes on a public network, which is dumb and not secure. So I want my load balancers inside the virtual network. And yes, so maybe that was just a setting on my end. It was probably on my end, because now I recall that I set the location, but I didn't set the network. So I recall that the controller was needing either a location or a network. So if I would put it into the network, that would probably not require a firewall open, and then it is secure, and that's cool. So overall, I am pretty pleased. Yes, it is not like, you can fire up a budget cluster even if you don't know Kubernetes kind of simplicity, but I think it's getting there. And I'm very keen on actually making that happen and spread the knowledge and just awareness as well that tools like this exist. So that is that. I hope you enjoyed it. You got back from your dog walking or dinner, and you caught the summary. It's going to be on YouTube, and I have no clue when I'm going to stream next time, but I have a few things that I want to check myself. So stay tuned. See you guys.